again. How is everybody doing? The Pep Talk
Amazing.
We have decided to go live tonight because we love interacting with our fans. So make sure you like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, follow us, and comment at PepTalkPod on all of the things. So it was an interesting weekend. Got to hang out. Three of the sisters, 3 out of 5 ain't bad. Hanging out in New Orleans this weekend for the HBCU Legacy Bowl. We're gonna talk about it later, but ladies, we had a good time.
We had a fabulous time.
Yes, we did.
We had a very good time.
No, I'm just kidding.
Ader.
Y'all should have called the quick flight. Y'all should have called the quick flight. It was a good time, but we'll talk about HBCUs and the Legacy Bowl coming up a little bit later in the show. But first, we want to start it off with some college basketball. Starting off with the number 17 Wildcats putting a whooping on the Crimson Tide, setting a school point total record, 117 to 95 at Rupp Arena on Saturday. Guys, what happened? What's going on?
Embarrassment.
Total embarrassment. They put them to sleep. 117 to 95.
That wasn't even really the gist of it. They literally just started letting them score in the end. It was so bad. Like the whole game, I was like, "That's okay. We're gonna come back. It's gonna get better. It just did not get better." Oh my.
And I was gonna try to sneak and watch the game on my phone, but for what?
8 up.
117. Oh gosh.
It was embarrassing. They were up by about 40. Was it about 40, Chris? They were up about 40 at one point in the game, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
I mean, it was like every other shot was a brick. Bang, yang, yang, bang, yang. I was like, what is... Alabama couldn't hit nothing. They couldn't hit me if I was standing under the goal. Like, they could hit nothing.
Never, they shot worse in that game, probably 3 times worse in that game than they did in the Auburn game where they played in Auburn the other week. It was so bad. Oh my gosh, it was bad.
Okay, so the guard, Kentucky's freshman guard, Justin Edwards, career high 28 points. He was 10 for 10 shooting from the floor. Like, what happened with the deep? Like, I don't understand what was going on with Alabama and their defense. Is this a harbinger of what we've seen from them in recent years? Like, they've been very good during the regular season. They make a little bit of a run in March Madness, and then all of a sudden they forget how to play defense and they tank. Are we seeing a pattern here with Crimson Tide and the basketball team? I don't know.
Oh, I think that they're playing stronger this season, honestly, than they did last season. I think they just, how you just had them nights where you just can't hit nothing. It wasn't like they wasn't getting looks. Their shots just weren't dropping. I mean, they just, their shots just weren't dropping. It was just a bad night. And what I will say is, in part in their defense and part in reality, Alabama too small. So if you're gonna try and get somewhere in the NCAA tournament, they got to get some bigger guys on their team. Everybody is little.
Yeah.
The guys who look like they're 5'5" compared to the rest of the D1 schools. I mean, it's just embarrassing. They look like little tiny mites, really, to their competitors. So it's like they got to get some big on that team.
They need some big guys in the middle. But I want to say this too, because even though to me, watching the game, they shot it wasn't bad because they hit 95 points. You get what I'm saying? It's just that Kentucky was on fire.
On fire.
Oh yeah.
So that's what I wanted to say. Like, it wasn't that the shooting was just terrible, even though they missed a lot, but they hit too. It was like 95 points in a college game is really not bad. It is really, they scored. It's just that Kentucky was on fire and they couldn't stop them. So I think they're gonna have to go back to the drawing board, because I have to agree with Sean. They do need some bigger guys in the center.
Yeah, they're just getting manhandled under the basket. And I mean, I know, like I said, the end score made the game look like it was less painful. It was not. Okay, by the end of the game, probably the last 5 minutes of the second half, they were down by over 30 points. Okay. So I know the 95 to 117 looks like, oh, okay, they were getting dog walked. And Kentucky just kind of let up off the gas, really, because they knew the game was over. If we're being honest. Because I mean, like I said, they were down by 40 points at one point in the game. It was bad.
Yeah. So I mean, Alabama looking to grab their third straight SEC title in the their third SEC title in the last 4 seasons. The road does not get easy for them, on this home stretch. They have to play Ole Miss. They got to play number 5 Tennessee. They got to play Florida. They got to play Arkansas. I mean, honestly, it seems like it's a good test for them heading into March Madness, but it's going to be a tough road for them. They will be battle tested heading into this tournament. What do you guys think is going to happen in these next 4 games?
And going against Arkansas, they will be going against 2 of the transfers that Alabama had in the past years. Arkansas have 2 guards that Alabama had with them for 2 years in the out of the 3 years that they did win SEC championship. But the other issue is Alabama have always had good shooters. I don't know what it is about their shooters this year, because even when they had, the year they had made it to the Final Four, they had good shooters. They had outside shooters. And this year here, I don't know. I think they kind of struggling. And they post guy, I don't even know who they post guy is. This guy Nelson, he's good, but he's not playing hard to me. He was getting pushed all over the floor to me. Nelson was kind of struggling, but
But you got to think about it. We say he's a big guy, but he's really not. He's really
not the big guy. Yeah.
He really not the big guy. So he's down there getting man. He's supposed to be out on the arc. Like, he's not really, they're using him as a big guy under the basket, but that really wasn't his role. I think I think he kind of just got exhausted because he had some really dominant nights under the basket. But that's not against.
He's 6'11". How big you want him to be?
But he's not a tough guy under the basket like that night in and night out. That's just not his.
Okay.
Well, you got to think about Kentucky got one that's 7'2" or 7'3", and he was winning. Yes,
Nelson out. Yeah. He was. Nelson is a good star because you can get out there and your defense playing on him out beyond the arc don't phase him at all. When he get hot, he's shooting over anybody that come out there. Unless you're a 7-footer, he's not. You're contesting his shot doesn't mean anything because he's a shooter like that. But that getting under the basket, that stuff. I don't know. Maybe we need to get in the weight room or something because he was getting pushed around.
Well, okay. Looking at the rest of the top 25, real quick, we saw. UConn is going to remain number 1, beating Villanova 78-54. Does UConn look unstoppable at this point? It's reminding me of the Jim Calhoun years when they went and won the championship. What are you guys seeing in UConn and that team right now?
They on fire.
They on fire. And I know I'm probably about to get X'd out of this conversation when I say this, but I think I know this is gonna sound so bad. I think the team that's gonna give UConn a challenge would be Auburn. Auburn is dominant this year. I hate to sound like that, but Auburn got shooters and big men that play with grit, and it's hard. It's a hard team to play for the full regulation and just dominate the way that you play other people. And I know it's kind of tough to say that because we're talking about teams outside of their conference where they hadn't really had to face them. But I think a big challenge for them would be a team like Auburn because they're just a gritty team. They got the shot, they got the shooting game. They're tough under the basket. That's just my personal opinion from what I've watched so far. I don't know what says you. I think Connecticut obviously too, but I'm sorry, Kentucky. We are talking about Connecticut. Connecticut too, but yeah, that's just my opinion.
You don't think Houston or Purdue?
No.
Okay.
Those teams look good in their conferences, but when you talk about playing with the tenacity that it takes to really survive in the tournament, I think a team like Auburn is really, really gritty. It's a dangerous team for them to face in that tournament.
That's a shocker.
I know.
I probably would have said North Carolina, but yeah. Who am I?
That is definitely a shocker. Yeah, I probably would have said anybody but Auburn.
I know.
I probably would have said North Carolina. That's just me. I wouldn't have said Auburn at all.
It's so painful. It was painful for me to say. I couldn't get it out. But I'm telling you, they play with so much grit. It's hard to beat them. Like they're dominant.
Yeah, that Auburn team, I mean, to put it lightly, they're like roaches. They never go away. So
not the roaches. Oh Lord, they only come out when the lights come on.
But I'm just saying, she's right. Like that Auburn team, they play with a lot of heart. I mean, I've actually been very impressed with their wins this season, and I mean how they've been playing even on the road. So I mean, it could put up a challenge, but I wanted to get to something that's been making the rounds lately around college basketball, and that is court storming. We saw Duke's Kyle Flipowski injured once the Wake Forest fans came out after their upset win, and basically, he hobbled off the court. We saw Caitlin Clark collide with a fan a few weeks ago. There are calls now for them to get rid of this court storming. What do you guys say about this? This is crazy.
Yes, I think they should get rid of the court storming. They should get rid of the field storming because it's just too dangerous. You'll mess around and you'll hurt somebody and end their career. Yeah. So, I think it should stop. If it doesn't stop, I do think that the schools should get a fine.
Yeah.
And I can see that happening. The same thing they did with football. They had started finding some schools, especially when they was tearing down the goalposts, but then some schools was actually letting down the goalposts before the game was even over with on big rivalry games. So I can see them actually starting finding the schools for this.
Yeah, you're gonna have to.
Yeah, this same thing happened the other night with Angel Reese. She got knocked. I mean, all you saw was her hair flying in the air when they stormed the court after LSU won the other night. I mean, it was not that smart for her to storm the court anyway, but I just don't think it's the very safe for these athletes when you're in the middle of, tournament play like this. I think that's very dangerous.
Play, period.
Smart for her anyway, but
but I really don't think I hadn't seen that happen in the SEC. So I was wondering, I was going to ask you guys, have the SEC pretty much banned their schools from storming the court? Because I really hadn't seen that from a SEC team.
Yeah, no, they just stormed the court at LSU, and Angel Reese got knocked out.
Angel Reese was.
So I missed that.
But the guys
when LSU played Kentucky and it was the buzzer beater.
Yeah,
they went crazy. They had back-to-back games, right? So one of them the men played the night before, and then so
okay.
It was very crump. They had a lot of home games that weekend. So
I mean, there's a certain, it's obviously with college sports, and you understand with the fan bases and keeping the students engaged. And I mean, obviously, if there's something to be said about those kinds of upsets, but I think a lot of times, I think the schools need to tighten up on it. I think the conferences need to tighten up on it, and they need to really get some better security around there, especially around the opposing team players. Like if you watch that video of Kyle, it looked like he just got swallowed up in a stampede. It was like he was there for a second and then he disappeared. And I was like, oh my God, this is very dangerous. It's dangerous for the students and definitely dangerous for the players. So I'll be interested to see how the NCAA, as we know, is notorious for solving things in a timely and efficient manner. So we shall see.
I like this.
I go to quite a bit of college basketball games a year. And some of the smaller conferences like Conference USA and ASUN and a couple of other ones, they don't allow you to storm the court at all. Good. And I mean, those games get battle tested because a lot of those guys go into the transfer portal to get into, these bigger conferences. So, they have a very big fan following, fan base, but they don't allow you to storm the court. I actually just, almost had into it with a Karen the other week. Not for trying to storm the court, but just, oh, you got to walk all the way up the stadium to go all the way around and come to, just to see your people. And it's like, come on, lady, we ain't doing all that. Nobody ain't in here, but they don't allow you to touch the court at all. Not, people that are not in the staff or on the team.
Yeah. Well, like I mentioned, Caitlin Clark, she was injured as well, or she collided with a fan. And so speaking of women's basketball, Crystal, take it away.
Yeah. It was a pleasure to see Caitlin Clark get knocked down last week by India.
Oh my God.
Oh, okay. Playing basketball.
They lost that game. Yes. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry.
Girl, it was that segue.
Right. We do not advocate the injury of any player.
Oh, no violence there. But to see them lose, that means that shooter was off, and the people that passed her the ball all game, they was off too, because they actually lost that game to an unranked team. So that was a good game, but good loss. These last few games that Indiana had.
A good loss.
A good loss, baby.
Yes, because I don't know if y'all know, but they are already talking about her getting drafted in the WNBA. Like, they already predicted her life without even looking at, to me, none of the other girls in the league. They have given her so many props. She is
like they have taken
she
a
is
blind
the best.
eye.
She is the number one of the world in the NCAA women's game.
Unreal. It's unreal. And you saw they tried to cancel Cheryl Swoops because she was saying pretty much what we've been saying for the last few weeks. That that we've been saying for forever, but she, they were pretty upset by her commentation about what she has. Go ahead, Shane.
Well, my question is, okay, yes, we are tired of hearing about Caitlin Clark, right? Okay, but she did just clock her, 16 triple doubles.
After 5 years for 5 years playing.
Right. Okay. I mean, is this a matter of us just being tired of hearing about her and being haters, or is she really as good as they're building? I don't want to come off like I'm being a hater, so I just want to do we really need to step back for a second and say this girl is actually good and worth the price of admission?
I think I will not know how good she is until she makes it in the WNBA, because at that point in time, it's not going to be about you. You're not going to be the star because you have other players on your team that is just as big and just as greater than you, that you're going to have to actually show more than what you've shown in college. So, I mean, I think I'm just tired of hearing about her, but I'm not going to know her worth until she makes it to the WNBA. That's just me.
I think too, we're not going to deny her talent. Obviously, she's a baller. But I think that for the masses, people are tired of the oversell, right? So you're pulling somebody from Iowa. I mean, who else does she really have, right? So if we're giving her all these accolades, it's because her team really makes her look really good, because she's She's end all be all for their squad. Whereas you have these other teams that have 4 and 5 stars on their roster.
Yes.
So I think the disgust is that if we had any of these other girls that had, even any of these other girls that played as a single star on her team, the same way that she does, would the talks really be the same about them? I don't believe it would.
So I mean, is this a matter of, okay, obviously we have talked about this on this show, and it's something that has been talked about, in society at large, the promotion of women's sports, right? And so when you have a marketable star, and there is something to say about who, what demographic she appeals to. She appeals to little girls, people in the Midwest. She's very safe, right? Because when you saw the whole matchup between her and Angel Reese last season, and the narrative was much different, right? It was very much like the villain. Like, what was it? Catholics versus convicts back when Miami was playing Notre Dame and that kind of stuff back in the day. That was kind of how it was set up. And so I'm feeling sort of that same way. And unfortunately, I feel like for Caitlin, she is going to catch the backlash with that because of the narrative that has been built up around her.
Yeah. Because I feel like
I
she'll
agree.
go somewhere in the WNBA and it's not going to be in the Midwest.
Well, yeah, they have already declared her to go first pick.
It
and
doesn't
first
matter
pick,
where they
I think, on
declare
the
her to
East
go.
Coast.
Ain't going to be in the Midwest. You ain't going to have that blanket of security.
No.
Interesting.
Well, I must.
And when we're talking about WNBA, you're gonna have to appeal to the different demographics than ours.
Mm-hmm.
If we being really honest. I mean, the Midwest, I mean, we could talk about Midwest all the time, but we're just talking about mid-country at this point, right? Mid-country, we know what that demographics looks like. You know, it's the unspoken truth about that fan base. And really and truly, we just like ballers. I don't care where you're from.
That's it.
No matter
Yes.
you. I mean, people, if you're a baller, you're a baller. I mean, like I said, we're not going to deny her talent. She's obviously talented. But I think that narrative about who, you know, just who her following is, she's going to have to appeal to it because the WNBA, I mean, is a collective of all sorts of women, right? It's not,
That's right.
you know, women coming out of the Midwest. I mean, you got ballers coming out. I mean, I think too, a lot of the coverage that you're getting, we're getting overshadowed by the fact that South Carolina has one of the leading scorers in women's basketball.
Come on.
Freshman. She's a little, I mean, compared to Caitlin, who's been in the league for 5 years in college, she's a freshman and she is dumping.
She is balling. She is balling. But they play collectively though.
Huh?
South Carolina play collectively. Like everybody on the team is touching the rock. Everybody on the team is shooting. Everybody on the team get an opportunity to play. Absolutely. And it's so totally different when you're watching Iowa because you already know who's going to get that ball.
Who's going to get the ball?
Who's going to get the ball?
Who's going to make the point? Who's going to score?
Sharing it because once she get it, she want to hold on to it.
Yeah, she's not sharing it. And the other thing is that like the only time our team get the score if they go to the free throw line and they have to get.
Well, anyway, let's talk. Let's stay on South Carolina. South Carolina did beat Connecticut. Hey, 103-55.
Kentucky.
I mean Kentucky. I'm sorry. I don't know if
103.
You said 103
on the team played.
Huh?
Everybody on the team played.
Everybody on the team played and everybody scored.
Golly. You said 103 to 55.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what the super says at the bottom. That's what the ticker says. 103 to 55.
Girl.
As in they almost doubled their points. Yeah, that's exactly what the score says. And here's the thing when we talk about promotion and, you know, like we're all a fan of promoting women's basketball. Obviously, they have gone so under the radar for a number of years. So it's encouraging to see that women's sports are getting the highlights and the placements that they're getting in, you know, TV now. One of the things we need to talk about is this. South Carolina been doing this all season. Okay, let's talk about it.
Season.
They've not just been beating people; they've been molly-whopping people in stylistic fashion all season long, right? And so that conversation that we're having about publicity or just, you know, pushing them out, and I feel like other than that Affleck commercial, we ain't really seen Dawn in much. You know what I'm saying? Like what type of promo or NIL, whatever contractual agreements that you have for these girls that are a one-man show that you don't have for this team that have literally dominated
the whole team.
The whole team has all season.
All season.
Since the start of the season, they've been whooping people by 30, 40, and 50 points. That's just what they've been doing. Everybody but who? LSU and Auburn?
Utah. That Utah game was a little bit close. Oh, but that's it. So I mean, looking at their dominance over the season, do we think that, like, is it a foregone conclusion that South Carolina is going to be in the Final Four and probably the championship game?
Most definitely.
Yeah.
Okay. Moving on.
I believe it's going to be your toughest competition in that tournament. I just want to hear.
Who's going to be the what?
Their toughest competition in the tournament?
South Carolina toughest. Stanford.
Oh.
No, I would get. I would think LSU would be way tougher than Stanford. LSU is gonna come back with a vengeance because it was like that was a really good game. That was a really good game. And if Angel Reese can hold her little attitude, because she can just calm down. I mean, I like Angel. Don't get it twisted. Like I like to see her play. But if she could just calm down just a little, I can guarantee you that game is going to be, the outcome is going to be different.
That's the only person I mean, that's the only team I see really putting
it could be, because they also play as a team. LSU also play as a team. It's not like it's just an Angel Reese show.
No. So they have a system in place to where that ball is supposed to touch everybody's hand that's on court. Everybody on the court for LSU and for South Carolina have a role. Their roles are all very important, right? Everybody has a role. None of them are more important than the other. They play very organized basketball. As much as people don't like to say it, both of those teams play organized basketball because they have a system. Some of these other teams rely too heavily on their stars. I think the teams that are going to have the biggest challenges, like a Stanford, definitely going to have a problem because they lean too much into their stars and their big key players. They don't have enough to spread out, the game. That's just my.
What about Ohio State
or UCLA?
I don't see it.
I'm telling y'all, Stanford is, but two, you mean Stanford and Ohio State, because one thing is Stanford has right now have 4 seniors that actually have started every single game in the past 2 years. Yeah, because they only lost 1 key player last year, so that's why I say Stanford, and they are actually
lost to this season.
Who they? What was that?
Who have they lost to this season? I was just asking.
Stanford they lost 4 games.
They've lost to Gonzaga. They lost to Gonzaga. They lost to Colorado. They lost to USC, and they lost to Arizona.
Yeah, no, they don't. They don't.
And Arizona is ranked as high as Stanford is.
Yeah. Well, Arizona is not ranked currently.
Not Arizona. I'm sorry. My apology. Ohio State is ranked just as high as Stanford is.
Yes. Yeah, Ohio State is ranked number 2.
Yeah, Ohio State ranked number 2.
High up in the rank. I also think that the rank is very incorrect. I don't agree with that. Bracketology or bracketologist, whatever the person's right.
Wait. What's the word again?
Bracketologist. You heard me.
Bracketologist. I think there's a T and not a D in that.
I don't know exactly what it is, but I'm giving it another name because surely they didn't come up with that rank after watching these girls play all season. I gotta be struggling with my eyesight. I know my glasses ain't came back yet, but yeah, surely that ain't the rank you came up with after watching these girls play all season. I mean, yeah, I don't agree with
what they came up with. That's what they came up with.
Oh, y'all
that's what it's like.
That's no way that's what y'all came up with. No, but I think what Chris is saying is that Stanford is a powerhouse, but Stanford is not playing grit ball like South Carolina right now. I mean, it's a different type of. They have a type of ball game. Like
it is
different.
It is
game with these.
And girls. I don't think they're going to be able to run with those girls. They're not going to be not going to be able to keep up with South Carolina. No,
play strategic ball. South Carolina will allow them to stay in the game and in the race with them for the first half. They figure out all they play calls. They figure out all their motions, and they come back in the second half. In the last 10 minutes, you forget that you were ever even in the game with them. That's how they dominate, and that's how they close out games. I'm just telling you what I done seen.
So would LSU and Stanford ever play each other besides in the
it would have to be in the March Madness.
In the tournament. Have to be in the March Madness.
Yeah, have to be in the tournament. Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna have to see. These teams, a lot of teams get exposed in March Madness because they haven't played level of talent, right, all season. It's just what it is. They get exposed. But hey, I'm sorry, I'm out. I'm done.
Peace. Just
You
get
always
out.
win.
I
Like the man do. That's how he goes.
You're like a damn run on six.
I'm winding up. I'm sorry, y'all know I get passionate about
Y'all
that.
know how she get about Angel Reese.
Yeah,
Nothing to do with anything else. It's all
That's
Angel
her.
Reese.
that's a girl.
Okay, let's move on. Let's
You a
talk
part
about
of
this
something
awesome
we don't know
softball
nothing about.
game. Let's talk about this
Oh,
awesome
yeah.
softball game. I don't know if anybody's seen this clip, but Danielle Gibson for Arkansas.
Please stop. This girl
She
said
she
this awesome
she made
stuff.
history. She did that
Okay.
thing.
I'm about to play the video. You ready?
Yes, we are ready.
Mhm.
All right, let's go.
Let's talk about this awesome softball game. What was awesome about this? This was the disaster.
Softball, college softball, Southern Illinois, Edwardsville, and Arkansas. This is Arkansas's Danielle Gibson. Two runners on. Gibson, 3-run blast. Her second home run of the day. She's got a 2-run shot and a 3-run shot.
Dang.
What happened here? Grand slam. You bet. You bet. So think about this. 3 at-bats, 2-run homer, 3-run homer. You're about to find the answer to that, too. Here we go. Here we go.
Come on, Zubin. Stop playing with my emotions.
There it is. 4 for 4, 10 RBI.
Well, I've never seen
That
anything
was
like that
amazing.
in my life.
That was amazing. And to say she's a sophomore, she is just a sophomore.
Oh,
So she is young in the game, and she is actually doing that game there. Oh my God. Yeah.
I
think she
mean,
doing something.
if you're the other team and this girl hits a 2-run, a 3-run, a grand slam, and then a solo at 4 bats, at what point do you start walking her? Is it after the one?
Second.
Yes.
every time
I
when she
can
came
see-
up the bat the second time.
I'm
Granddaddy
walking.
Tunda.
I'm on. No, I'm on notice when she come up the bat the second time. You right, Missy. I'm on notice. But that second home run, oh, you walking. I don't care what you say. I'm walking everybody. As a matter of fact, I know what you embarrass me like that.
Listen,
No.
when I watched that clip, I said Granddaddy Tunda and Stump is somewhere screaming
Scream.
at them coaches.
Scream.
Well,
Yeah.
you got to be the dumbest blam 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 in the history of softball.
Yes.
Like, what
Was the other pitcher hurt? What was
she
going
was
on?
I don't think they even have a backup pitcher for them because they kept her in that same pitcher.
They
Yeah.
should have just got somebody from
Baby,
outfield.
and I
to
felt so
practice
sorry
pitch.
for her confidence. Just imagine being there and you looking at that girl and they still not calling the right pitch for her. I'm like, Sean, you know this girl is hot. She done already hit twice out the park. The third time you coming up to back, babe, I'm throwing at your feet.
Period.
Rolling
And
the
then I'm
ball.
not even looking at the coaches no more because I'm not even gonna do nothing that they done told these
Hey,
people.
You're not
I'm not doing
embarrassing
none of
me,
that.
and I'm not gonna help you help me get embarrassed.
So
I'm
correct.
No,
I'm
The
from-
only embarrassment that I would have gotten is I would have been rolling that ball. Long
Yeah.
as it made it across that plate.
She would have
I'm
been playing
rolling the
golf.
ball. Oh,
Golf
well, we
on a
would have been
softball.
playing bowling. We would have been playing golf, kickball, no longer softball.
Yep,
I'm not fixing to do that. No.
baby.
Oh,
I ain't finna
I
get,
will
why
wind
would
my
I
arms
get
up.
your stats right?
No, listen.
I ain't
Y'all
helping you.
some fast pitch, baby. That last round, you gonna see that thing going in slow motion, baby. Bowling ball. Ain't no way I'm gonna let you hit out the park on me again. No, ma'am.
mm-mm.
No, ma'am. Get somebody else to do it.
Ooh, baby, I know they are screaming at the coaches.
Yes, either the other pitcher was hurt, the coach was asleep, they were not being coached, maybe they were being self-coached, or they just chose embarrassment that day. I don't really have
All of the above. All of the above.
Oh my gosh. Well, yeah, I definitely would have been thrown into the dugout at that point. Like I would have nowhere near home plate. I would have my arm would have stopped working because, like you said, it ain't no way you
Hey,
about to be 4 times in a row. No,
No.
ma'am. Not happening, but congratulations to Arkansas's Danielle Gibson for making history, girl. Because, like I said, I ain't never seen nothing like it. I was like, wait a minute now. No.
And
Like,
you never do it again. Know that.
Never,
never-
But
never,
it's a
ever.
sign for the next team. Hey, the next team, but they're gonna know to actually walk her. Don't try to pitch to her.
right.
Whoever
Oh
they
my
play
goodness.
next, don't try to pitch to her. Don't make her get
If
too
they paying
comfortable on that plate.
attention now.
Oh my
Somebody
goodness.
may have, somebody may have a burst of confidence and be like, "Oh, I can strike her out."
No, we don't need your confidence.
I ain't
don't
finna
need-
play around with her.
We don't not necessary.
All right. Well, we're about to take a little quick 30-second commercial break, and we will be back to talk about, we got our AMOS segment coming up. We got some hot topics on the docket today. So stay with us. We will be right back. Wait a minute. No, you didn't. That was not licensed to turn the camera off just because we took a quick little commercial break. Mystic, go
Try to
ahead.
get her a 30-second quick nap in or something.
Right.
Girl,
We got time.
I'll eat my ice. Y'all know I got to eat my ice.
All right, so let's talk about some NBA basketball where the Denver Nuggets beat Golden State Warriors 119-103. And the crazy thing is, it looks like the Warriors was holding them until like the third quarter, I believe. So, like, what is going on with the Golden State Warriors against the Denver Nuggets? Even though you're like, I'm sick of Nuggets, but that's just me.
They're the defending champions. Hey,
They are, yes.
Golden State Warriors are almost, their record is like almost 500. They're 29 and 20. As we have seen, Draymond and that whole situation, the team chemistry is not there. I think teams have figured out how to play Golden State. There used to be a time where it seemed like you couldn't stop them from shooting, you couldn't stop them from scoring. And now everyone else is caught up, is what I see.
Yep.
And Klay Thompson is on the bench. He's not starting.
Who?
Correct.
Klay.
That is totally, I don't know what ignoramus is responsible for that. What I really
She on one today. She is on one today.
She is having a pep moment, baby.
But listen,
Bracketology.
not only that, but your boy Seth, he don't play no defense. You ever seen
Never.
No, he don't never play defense.
He ain't gonna play no defense. I don't care what they say. He gonna do it.
He ain't not before 11. What you want him to play?
Well, he down there by the ball. It should be easy for him to strip a ball and take away or do something.
That part. When he finished shooting, by the time y'all get to up here, he's still back there. What you doing? What are you doing?
Skipping.
Why you not down? Down there rubbing the wetness off the bottom of his shoe and stuff like that. If you don't get back on defense, I don't care what he do. He's not gonna play no defense. They got defense. Maybe that's not part of his contract. Maybe his contract, he's not required to pay the defense.
Shoot.
I just don't believe he is. I don't believe it.
His contract is just like your contract, Tracy. Shoot it, Tracy. Shoot it, Steph. So hey, that's what happened.
You didn't have to do that. Put me on blast.
Anywho, but I put you with a good person.
Oh,
Right. Okay. See how that go. So let's talk about Doc Rivers. So now that he is with the Milwaukee Bucks, oh my goodness, and he has a win when he returned to Philadelphia. Come on, Doc. I know we talked a little bit about him last week because Milwaukee was not looking good. And they still have all these coaches
that they paying
on
for.
the roster that they're paying for. And here come Doc Rivers doing his thing. So, what y'all think about that? So how y'all think Milwaukee gonna do for the rest of this season with Doc?
Hey, they still saying they're gonna be number one.
Oh,
A lot of talk about them. A lot of talk about them.
Yeah.
okay.
They're doing pretty good in the Eastern Conference. I think they're going to be tough this season. I still don't know. I haven't heard too much, obviously, since the coach dismissal, and I don't know what was going on there, but they seem to have worked out some kinks because they are playing well. So we shall see.
We shall see. I think for the East, I don't know nobody else in the East that's really playing. Well, who else in the East?
The Celtics.
Yeah, the Boston Celtics, they've been doing good.
Celtics are,
I
yeah.
like the Celtics, but I feel like the Celtics get right at the end and always let you down. I don't know. They feel like the Falcons to me the last couple seasons. You're like, okay, here we go again with this. Think about it last year.
You put them in the bowl with the Falcons?
I'm just talking about in the way in which they're ending their season.
Oh, okay. Yes, ma'am.
They're not closing it out. But they got a good team. They got all the pieces. The Celtics got all the pieces. So we shall see. Yeah.
Well, ladies, let's talk about this. So over the weekend, I had the privilege of being with two of my sisters at the Legacy Bowl in New Orleans. And it was so nice. The weather was nice. It was beautiful. Yes. Everything was so perfect. I was so happy to be a part of that because just to see what the NFL is trying to do with HBCU teams, and giving those guys the opportunity to, like that's their senior bowl, to perform before some people and perhaps make the NFL draft grow up. It was good. It was good and it was amazing. Jackson State Band did good.
Yes.
As always.
Yeah.
Sonny Boom.
Yeah. Shout out to Davius Richard though, even though he hurt himself at the very beginning of the game. Yeah. Yeah, he's the quarterback for North Carolina Central, I want to say.
Yes.
He's the quarterback for there. So shout out to him. He did wonderful up until he hurt himself. Sad bummer. But I'm sure he can recover. He can recover. It's a leg injury.
Yeah. I think next season, and I've talked to some people, I said next season, I really want them to incorporate a lot of the pageantry that comes with the HBCUs. Like, I loved having Jackson State there. On the other side, I would have liked to see like Southern's band or Alabama. Like, make it a battle. Make it like all of it is to go to an HBCU homecoming game. They need to bring that homecoming energy to Legacy Bowl. And I think they will really have a winner because let me tell you something. The Senior Bowl recently, the interest in it has gone down. And I feel like the HBCU Legacy Bowl, is it going to take the place of that? I don't know. But it's a good opportunity for people in the South to see some of the best players, obviously, all on one field together. So I think there's ways that they can improve it, make it even better. But it was a very good turnout this year.
It was a good turnout. Yeah.
It was nice. One of the things I thought about when you said Legacy Bowl, because I'm in obviously like a lot of HBCU groups, and in like my own alumni group, and there was not a lot of talk about it. People really just didn't know. There was not a big push or promotion about it. And I think about a grand stage of HBCUs coming together as a collective, that draws a monstrous crowd because we have just Greek picnic here in Atlanta, and everybody that went to HBCU ain't even Greek, but it's an insane outcome. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Like the are crazy, and you go and you're not even Greek, but it's just the fact that it's like a family reunion of HBCUs all getting together collective.
That's right.
Definitely got to put a little bit more advertisement behind it.
Yeah.
And especially in New Orleans, that was a gold mine. You could have got
everybody
to agree to come to New Orleans, and you got the state of Alabama is right next door. We have the most HBCUs out of any state in the country, so you could have really got a big crowd, of
And on top of that, I mean, so this was the third year of the Legacy Bowl. So it's still in its infancy, but like I said, there are definitely ways to improve it. And promotion is one of them, because talking to people in New Orleans, there was not like, they were like, oh, that's happening this weekend. And it's like, come on now. Like, this is the perfect space for the HBCU Legacy Bowl to thrive. So I know that the organizers are going to be thinking about that moving forward. But I will say, on top of the game itself, there's also a career fair for HBCU students from all over to come. And I saw students from HBCUs all over. It was an amazing experience to be able to mentor them, talk to them, help them in their career journeys. I mean, we had the FBI was there, the Department of Defense was there. There were about 5 different football clubs, the Saints, the Seahawks, the Bears, Green Bay was there. I mean, so it was just an amazing turnout, and to be able to service that many students, it was awesome. And I think it's only going to get better from here.
Yes, most definitely.
Can't wait till next year.
Yes, I know, right?
Man, I didn't know clubs was there. I would have came. Well, now I'll be there next year.
Selling her uterus.
I did run into a couple of fine coaches, let me just say. But as an engaged woman, I was not looking. I was looking for my sisters. That's all I'm saying. I was looking for y'all, not for my
Amen.
Very well.
Not you, Crystal. Don't you raise your hand, Crystal.
Here we are, Shayna. Here we are.
High five.
Look how she looking.
Okay. Speaking of uteruses and moving on to our pop culture, Sean, what is going on in our moment off of sports this week?
We got some juicy moment off sports this week. Our first topic up for tonight is going to be Wendy Williams.
It's not.
Did anybody get to see the 2-part Wendy Williams show? What happened?
Oh, we were supposed to be doing Cam. You're not paying.
Cam last. Yes. Okay. I did get to see the Wendy Williams episode, and it was kind of scary. It really was scary. It was touching to actually see her going through what she's actually going through, and her family not being able to be involved. That was really touching to me.
Why her family can't be involved?
Because she's on the court order guardianship. To some professional company that her family have no say so over her.
What?
She had ownership similar to Britney Spears, but Britney Spears had got, her family, it was her father that was over hers, but this one is an actual company that's representing Wendy. Her family.
How do they do that?
So what happened was, a few years ago, when she started having some health issues, her son was kind of in charge of her finances and everything. And so what happened was, he was kind of spending a little bit recklessly. I mean, he was a young boy, he was 19, right? And so he was spending kind of lavishly, taking care of her. Like, his rent was like $80,000. I think they say he spent like $100,000 on Uber Eats. Deliveries. And so what happened was, Wells Fargo flagged her and basically froze them. And so at that time, it was just a financial, like, they were just in charge of her finances. But recently she had a couple health scares, and then they were able to then place her under a guardianship and did not allow her family to be over the guardianship, which is kind of crazy to me. That I feel like, if there is no proof of abuse or neglect from family members, I think family members should be an option, especially when it comes to your medical care and like your personal well-being. It's a different, to me, like the money thing and the physical well-being, those are two separate things, right? If you're just looking over her money, that's one thing. But for her to not be able to see her family when she wants to, or them to see her, talk to her when they want to, I just don't think that that's right.
Oh, that's so unfair.
It really is unfair, but I got a question. Do you think that her management team has something to do with this as well? because even her manager.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Go ahead, Sean.
Go ahead.
I just, a couple years ago, there was a little bit of trouble in paradise between her and her family. They had some bad goings on between her and the sisters and something. So I think there's a little bit of history there that they must not be unveiling in this documentary. But with all that, I think to just lessen the chaos, they thought that this was the better move. But there was some strife between her and her immediate family members in the media. I'm not gonna say it was true because obviously I wasn't there, but in the media, and there was also the sister was doing a lot of releasing about one. I don't know how many sisters she has, but one of the sisters was doing a lot of posting about. Okay, well, it's that one that she and I saw her disdain for her sister Wendy. So I think that may be their position on it, is that the family was at odds at some point, and they maybe just thought that wasn't a good idea. Because I listened to the sister, and she wasn't the biggest Wendy fan.
Okay, yes. So if it's just not, don't put that one sister on the list. Like, why would you even stop her from, her son from seeing her? So,
that was the thing when she said, I'm sorry. They said she moved. When she was going through this initially, she moved to Florida. Her son said when he was down there, he was making sure the most of the money what he claimed allegedly, he was using it for her medical because he had found a doctor down there to help her out. She had gained her weight back. She gained her strength back, and she was being more vocal about how she wanted stuff to be handled. But now that they got her under this guardianship, the guardian don't even come by and see her some days or some weeks. It'll be time before that, and that they don't even know how she's feeling or what's going on with her. Well, she sit there and she'll order her some liquor.
So I think this is what we need to establish kind of the baseline. So Wendy is an admitted, she had a drug problem, right? But she's also an alcoholic. And so her dementia is actually alcohol-induced dementia. Like she drank so much to where it gave her dementia. So the issue was her son would not allow her to drink alcohol.
Yes.
He did not want alcohol anywhere around her, things like that. So when she went to court and they were like, do you want to see Kevin? She was like, no, I don't want to see Kevin, basically. And so the court took that as she doesn't want to have contact with her family. And she doesn't want to have contact with her family because they don't want her to drink. Because the drinking makes the situation worse. And her management team, that manager that she got, who was just a jewelry designer, who some kind of way ended up being her manager, and then that Sean Zanotti, the publicist who can't blend her weaves, somebody need to be looking up her professional credentials, because how do you take someone who is clearly not in their right mind, clearly, and you take them to go drink on camera, an admitted alcoholic who has alcohol-induced dementia, you take her to drink and then take her to a meeting with NBC Universal thinking that they're going to give this woman a show. You got her.
She must be drunk too.
Thank you. You're supposed to be the crisis management person, the publicist. You're making the crisis worse, ma'am. What are your credentials? I need to know who's crisis.
That's so dirty.
Oh my God.
But yeah, that was one thing that they said, that even the guardianship, they think she is actually using her for her money. And they she think that she's going to go back to show business. She keeps telling them she really going back to show business, and
it's not going to happen.
It's not.
The best they can do for her at this point is to make sure that she is living a comfortable life and that she is, making all her appointments, because there's no cure for dementia, right? No. There's no cure. All they can do is just make sure her quality of life is good going forward. And she, when people have dementia, they can sometimes be combative. They can be violent. And she has displayed all of that. Like, she will be talking coherent one second, and then the next second just flip and then burst into tears. Like, you can definitely see the cognitive decline that's going on. And they just really she needs to be with her family, period. She needs to be with her family.
Yeah, I agree. But yeah, that Wendy thing, I think we could talk about this all night. It's very disheartening to see her decline, especially when she was that girl, and show, in daytime television. But moving on, let's talk about this Cam Newton situation. While he's out here trying to be a philanthropist and everything, and give back to his Southwest Atlanta community and everything, why somebody trying to sucker punch Cam Newton? What we doing? What we doing?
You want me to play?
Yeah,
Let's
play
show
that
the
video.
clip.
Okay, I'm gonna play the video. Stand by.
Just sad.
Yeah, he got what he wanted.
Shit.
Look at the kids.
Unreal. I just say, we have so much to work on as a community, but just imagining you hosting this event for your old neighborhood, and you're out there trying to get back, and some little suckers that ain't even there, for the right thing, that they're not even a part of either one of the organizations. They just there to start trouble. He was breaking up a fight, and in the midst of him breaking up a fight, he got sucker punched. And that, it was in this moment when he swung him around that pole, he regretted it. He realized he got one. Yeah. Ate him up.
I'm gonna say this. We have seen videos. I don't know if y'all remember that picture of Cam and Josh Norman fighting in practice. And Cam had basically Josh Norman, he had him by the collar, basically holding him up mid-air. And he had a smile of glee on his face. Now, I don't know much. I don't know much about Al Jarreau and all those other things. But I'm just saying, if somebody is choking you with a smile on their face, you might not want to mess with them. That's all.
Hey, not want to mess with them.
All I want to say is I want a relationship as tight as that hat is on Cam Newton's head. Baby, that hat didn't move. Baby, when I tell you, when Cam moved, that hat moved. Baby, Cam swung that man, that hat went out, came back, and sat right there. Baby, I want that relationship tight.
Who was responsible for the hat? Who?
That hat.
That hat stayed glued.
I'm gonna tell you, we used to.
That hat was holding on real tight.
I think, and Shana, you brought up a really good point. I think people forget that Cam Newton, I will not say go by the old name that I call him, because I've actually grown a liking for him over the last few years. But I think people just forget that Cam Newton was not like this super like silver spoon privileged kid that just grew up, unaware of what's happening around him in the world at large. He for sure grew up in Southwest Atlanta. Everybody knows him in Southwest Atlanta. Actually, he still comes back and stayed in Southwest Atlanta when he was in the league. I mean, obviously he had an estate, but that he's not new to that town or that area. He knows exactly what he's doing. He has had this youth program over in his old neighborhood for a number of years, so obviously he knows what kind of territory that come with. But Cam ain't no little dude, and Cam never been no little dude. And I think if you go back and you talk to the people at Florida State and at Auburn, they'll also tell you that Cam was not the guy that was sitting in the film room for 24 hours. Like, Cam was in them streets, like they he was never a pushover, and he's very massive. He's strong and
yeah.
I just do not know what they was thinking. But I'm going to say this: it was so embarrassing to see the children who he was there to mentor to witness that, because quite naturally they see that on the regular. They don't want to see that from their mentee. You feel what I'm saying? Like
And if you notice how he was unfazed, he realized, oh, you trying to sucker punch me. He got him really quick. And he didn't even really finish the fight. Once they were already defeated, he just kept on trying to break the guys up. Because that was initially what he was doing, was trying to break up. Because I saw another angle of the guys that was arguing. Yeah. I didn't get the first sucker punch. But he wasn't phased by the punch. And so when that happens, you really should just never come back. And they said it was something about some organization called TSP or something. I think it's probably just a group of guys that also have like youth athletes, and they probably just hate them.
It's a 7-on-17. I was looking up because I was like, everybody was like, Cam gets in scuffle with TSP. I was like, what TSP stand for? Total sucker punch? Like, I was so confused what that meant, but it's like a 7-on-17. I was like, what is T? Because people just kept saying TSP as if we were supposed to know what that meant. I ain't know what that meant. So I just made up my own name.
Part of TSP, and I've been around leagues in inner city Atlanta for the last 14 years. I have 15 almost. I have never heard of TSP. I don't know where that came from.
Well, all I'm gonna say is I met Cam in person recently for the first time, and he is a massive human being. That's a very large man. So I really, I mean, like he is solid, like built. Yeah, and so I mean, he fine too. He fine. I ain't even gonna trip. He is fine.
We just gonna have to be better as a community, guys. Like, come on, community, come on. Let the people help us.
That's how you know that those people are not like commoners at his league, because they don't even be having all that riffraff going on at his camp, like at all. Yeah. Like they don't. I don't even understand. I mean, people feel honored and privileged to be able to go to his camps. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, they've been going on for, I don't even know how long they've been in existence, but this is not like his first rodeo. But they don't even be having it, going on as quiet as kept. So I feel like there had to be some hater stuff. Because what was the reason for that?
I don't know, child. But all I know is he had one of them. He flung the first guy who sucker punched him. He had another one in a headlock, and child, guess what? He was putting them to sleep.
When I say ignorant at his best. Man, y'all crazy.
That's what he was doing.
That's why I love y'all though.
When somebody that chilled and they about you going into a sleeper, please, why are y'all doing this?
Yeah,
he got held to the end that he had him locked up. I didn't think that was the guy that sucker punched him. I think that was one of the guys he was like trying to break up from the fight.
Well, honey, they need to chill like that hat. Just sit there.
Anyways, listen.
Yeah. Anyways, on that note, Atlanta, we're gonna need y'all to act right next time Cam holds a camp, if he ever even holds a camp again, because the way y'all acting, he might not want to put another one on.
Come back, baby.
And on that note, we'll be like the guy in the headlock and put y'all to sleep tonight. We will see you next time on the Pep Talk Podcast. Good night. Good night.
Get it, Daddy, get it.